Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Man Manga Boy Manga Unboxing. Except this time, it's a manga haul. Wow, whoa. Yeah, that's right. Just like the title says, and just like it happens every week, we're back with another manga reading log. And we have 2, 3.5, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5, 10.5, 11.5, 12.5, 13.5 mangas read this week. Holy moly. It's not even a world record. We did it. Let's start off with this one. It has a nice fancy kind of 3D cover here. I don't know if you can see that it's raised there. This manga was very okay. It is a 7 C's volume. I got it because I was mildly interested in it. The main character is this girl with the short brown hair, and she's wildly in love with the villainess of this dating game, otome dating game. So, like the first few panels, she just randomly gets sucked in, to this gaming world as she's playing it for like the 300th time, and she memorizes everything about the game. And so she knows, that's cool, you can see the 3D print in the back. So she knows everything that's going to happen in it before it happened. She knows everything about these characters. So, the characters respond to her real time because, in this world they're living beings, they're not programs or anything like that. So it's interesting to see, the villainess's responses and, the supposed princes who she's supposed to be dating responses when she's like blatantly not interested in them. It's okay. That's pretty much the best I can say about it. I really don't think that this is super great or anything like that. If it wasn't 7 C's, I probably wouldn't have even picked it up to begin with, but because what I always say, if you have a mild interest in something by 7 C's, you should probably pick it up just, because otherwise it's going to go out of print if, by the time you wait for too many volumes to come out. So maybe it'll get a little better, maybe it won't. We will see. But yeah, so far it's just okay. Definitely I'm happy to read it. Not anything too special though, in my opinion right now. Goblin Slayer, Volume 10. So Goblin Slayer, this is the 10th volume of it, okay? You guys already know what it's about. You read it right here. He's the Goblin Slayer, okay? He slays the goblins. So we pick up off where we started with the main characters, reaching their target who they needed to rescue. They find out, she was, of course, abducted by goblins and everything like that from the last one. And so this is the good stuff. We see what happens to her through some flashbacks. We get a few color pages at the beginning. We get to see them start to infiltrate the goblins and the cultist goblins and things like that. And then we also get to see them make a huge mistake. Goblin Slayer is sick. It always is sick. There is a crazy amount of violence in this one. This series as a whole always has a crazy amount of violence. Dismemberments, rape, pillaging, murder everywhere, just dismemberments. It's nuts what these goblins are capable of. So yeah, I really like this volume. This series as a whole is really good. You get to see some ingenuity here. For once, you get to see the goblins kind of, they have their little inventions, but you see one of their inventions. Why it kind of sucks is their goblins are too dumb to know what they're doing. So they copied this really good idea about the arrowheads being loose so that way they get stuck inside people. However, what they didn't realize is if you're too far away, the arrowhead, because the arrowhead are so wobbly, the arrows won't fly straight, so they have shitty aim. So things like that's really cool to see, in this series. I always can't wait for the next one. I mean, I say that a lot about a few series actually these days, but this one is one that comes out, I don't know, maybe twice or three times a year. And so since I've been caught up on it, I mean, look at that blood. Oh my God, that's nuts, right? Since I've been caught up on it, I really feel so sad that I don't get to read more. I mean, this goes way past the anime at this point. I think the anime ended at like volume 4 or 5. So now we're twice as past. This would be like at the end of season 2, I suppose. Maybe even the last arc would have ended, and this would be the start of season 3. If you were interested in reading Goblin Slayer, but you didn't want to wait, for the what's it called, the anime, if it's even going to come back, I don't know. It got kind of some flack for how brutal it was, which, in my opinion, is a good thing to be criticized for. If it's too brutal, I'm there. That's cool. I'll extra watch it now. Next, Peach Boy Riverside. This is a series that I watched a few episodes of and I actually liked. This covers the first 2, maybe 2.5 episodes. I got this during the summer sale. I wish I got more. The opening, I don't think this was the same opening as the anime, but it opens with this guy right here showing up and I think it did open with this, but it opens up with him like finding out that there's an ogre here, and so he wants to hunt the ogre. And once the guy catches an ogre, like, look at that, he just like gets this demonic face. And so once he figures out the ogre is there, he walks up to the ogre like totally fearlessly and just starts slaying him like a goddamn badass. He's got like a smile on his face and everything like that. Then he gets like blood all over him, and you see this like here. He looks so twisted and wicked. It's awesome. So then the princess is like, damn, I wish I went with him that day. And so she becomes an adventurer. But it turns out the princess also has that same kind of masochist/sadistic look where she just like can completely destroy ogres for some reason. There's not too much I know about this series, but I do really love this kind of duality to it where they just become these ruthless killers like out of nowhere. And like, I can't wait to see more about it. I remember this was very popular when the anime came out, and that's why I wanted to wait for the manga, because I know the second I hit the end of the season, I'm gonna be like, I need more, and then there's not gonna be any more. And so at least the anime, even though it's all at once, you have to wait longer for season 2. So if I get the manga, coming up by volume, then, I'll feel like I'm being served regularly for it. Next, I read Drifting Dragons, volume 7 and 8. The story and character development is continuing along. Again, this is a series where I'm starting to like it a little bit more, like I mentioned previously the last time I read it, but it still isn't that great. I still don't see where the plot is really going. I do like the characterization, these characters, and I get it, it's like probably best to explain kind of like a Cowboy Bebop-esque manga where like they just go on different missions and journeys, and they just do, the thing. They just catch the dragon and then they make the meat. I mean, it's a little repetitive for me because it's ultimately the same goal, whereas like Cowboy Bebop and other like outlaw manga/anime, they have different goals, so you don't really know how it's going to turn out. Like in this one, they're going to catch the dragon. And what are they going to do with the dragon? They're going to make a goddamn dish out of it. And what are they going to do with the rest of the dragon? They're going to sell it. So that's cool, but as you learn more and more about the characters, you start to kind of get more and more attached to them. I really still don't think that this is really worth picking up. The artwork is amazing, though. The characterization's pretty good. I just really wish there was more of a main story. I'm really, really interested in the lore of the dragons, but they don't deliver on it. They keep teasing it, and they don't go any further than that. I mean, we're 8 volumes in, and all I really know about the dragons is in the past, like, they were worshipped by humans, and it seems like the humans are being a bunch of dicks right now by killing them. But I don't really know. I mean, I have no idea. Are they not being dicks because, they need population control? Are they being dicks because the dragons are just, like, minding their own business? Are the dragons, like, here to be fed on by the humans? Like, I don't get it. I seriously don't understand what the main point of it is. But yeah, the characters are interesting. The art's great. The lore is interesting, but it's, what's the word for it? Not fulfilling at this point, because, you know, they just keep dangling it in front of you, and like you start to feel like the donkey with a carrot in front of your face. Well, the guy rides you to like the hotel. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like we're being just led along. I read also Blueberry 2 and 3 because I got volume 2, and finally that was a big treat for me. I wasn't able to read this since volume 1. I really liked volume 1. 2 and 3 I like less, but I still did like it quite a bit. You know, we follow the main character as he tries to get more and more into TUA, Tokyo University of Art. So Yatora, the main character, is, you know, trying his hardest to get better at art, explain and reach his parents about his feelings of art. He goes to cram school to learn more about art and have a better chance of getting it in. I think he's gonna hook up with this guy. I think like they're gonna end up being lovers, but you know, they might not. I don't know if this is a manga that even cares too much about romance, but maybe it does. His friend / rival, who, you know, dresses in drag. She's transgender, so, you know, I think she goes by she, but the main character calls her he. I don't know if it's a translation error or what, or maybe I'm just not understanding. Because the character is like not overtly in the manga so much. She's like sprinkled in here and there. But yeah, I think the main character admires this character so much. I think it's going to end up turning into a romantic relationship, but we'll see. I do really like the artwork to this, and I'm terrible at art, but I really like to learn more and more about the art theory behind it. I never knew that art was like trying, you know, they were based off of simplistic shapes. So I thought that was really cool. I really like the idea of expressing people. So I think like that idea of sexuality and self-identity makes sense to be put in a manga like this. So this is just like a very provocative, thought-thinking manga, in my opinion. I do like the ideas behind it. I like a lot of the concepts behind it, and so I hope it keeps going forward in a pretty good direction. The main character has like really grown since the first volume, and I mean, we're only 3 volumes in, and it's like he's already like a completely different person since the beginning, which is really neat. We have Heavenly Delusion. I don't know if anyone else got this besides me. This has actually been really good. I think this is maybe 1 volume. It might be technically a omnibus, but I don't remember. Which would bring my count up to 14 for anyone who's counting. So this is an interesting manga set in the post-apocalyptic future. There's these kids in school that you follow around for the beginning part, and they are like trying to just live life. And they're starting to wonder what's on the other side of the door, you know, going out outside. And there's these weird things happening, like one person starting to be able to tell the future, one person starting to see things. It's just odd. Meanwhile, on the other side of the gate, these two are traveling, and they look similar to the people in the school, but they're traveling and they're trying to get to this place called Heaven. They've got some really weird abilities, and the girl has a really weird gun. There's these very odd monsters here that pop up and just like murder people, and well, they eat them and assimilate them and things like that. It's pretty creepy. I always open up to that page. I don't know why. But yeah, you can see here that this weird monster thing is here, and it's like Parasite almost, like how creepy it is and bubbly with all the eyes and the tentacle whips and things like that. So yeah, those are in here. Plus people are just people, and so they're like crazy, and they're, what's the word for it? Assholes, savages, trying to live life. You know, they barter with items like batteries and things like that. Some things are rarer than others. So, you know, it's a post-apocalyptic manga with some sci-fi elements and some very weird mystery things going on here. You know, we don't know why the world kind of came to an end. We don't know what's going on with these two, where they're trying to get to. What is happening at the school? Who knows? So I can't wait to get more of it. This is by Dempa. I think the second one is either out soon or already out. So I'm excited to get that one and just figure out more and more about it. Here we have The Breaker. This has 2 seasons out currently, and the third one is supposedly coming out this year or early next year. I forget which. People have been waiting for Breaker season 3 forever. Pretty sure I read all of The Breaker, but none of The Breaker New Waves. Not 100% on that though. That's weird. I just noticed that like the title is upside down. You see, normally you would just turn it like this, and then but you have to turn it like this. Anyways, it's being published by this company called The Blaze. A lot of people were shocked that this was coming out since, you know, they've been blueballed by the 2 creators here who aren't releasing, you know, season 3, and they keep making other works instead. Anyways, it's about this like really crappy kid who's getting bullied and he's a coward. Eventually he turns his life around and he's like, listen, I'm going to be for real. I'm going to like totally try my best to not be a coward and be brave. Please just train me. And so his teacher, who's newly transferred into the school, tells him no. Good luck. Run 50 laps and maybe I'll think about it. And so his teacher is like super good at kung fu and martial arts. And he's just like trying to get laid like the whole time. And so it's pretty funny. There's also this underlying plot of this clan going on and how they're trying to get back the teacher, who's not really a teacher, for murdering the clan leader. So there's all these different martial arts styles and things like that. So it's very cool, very kung fu-ish. You know, I like this kind of manga quite a bit. There's a lot of blood, broken hands, broken faces. It is pretty good. You know, it's one of the better manhwas out in the world, and has, you know, been out for a long time now, and has been known for being really good. It's also been known for having, you know, New Waves rather, and on a huge cliffhanger, and so people didn't want to pick it up for that. So that's why it was a shocker that it even came here. I still think it's worth reading personally. You know, the problem is that, in my opinion, if you throw enough money at this series, the author will have to eventually, you know, make the third one, I would think. You know, a few times he has, or they have rather, gone out and said that it's definitely happening. Just let me finish this. Just let me finish that. And so people are getting kind of fed up with it and just thinking it's never happening, that we're just being dicked along. But, you know, I like to have faith and think that it's going to happen. So if you've never been exposed to it before, I definitely recommend picking it up. If you have been exposed to it before, you know, that is a good omnibus collection. There's a lot of, you know, fourth wall breaking jokes in there, things like that. And, you know, it's a really good story no matter what. I always think it's worth another read. I haven't read it since like high school, maybe early college. So it's been a long time for me. Here we have Fist of the North Star Volume 2. We pick up where we left off with these bandits just like overlooking Kenshiro, like a bunch of morons. And Kenshiro like invading the Red Beret base. This is so corny and cheesy. It was funny a few of the times. Other times the kung fu action was sick and just like pretty, you know, nuts to watch. A lot of blood and gore. Some ridiculous things like walking through the desert and being blind and then just being heard of being blind. Like, what? I mean, I've heard of sand blindness or snow blindness, but come on, it doesn't take a few days for anything to come back, and it doesn't happen in a few days. I was just like, what the heck? They're just like talking out their butt right now, aren't they? But yeah, this is just like a classic kung fu series. It's interesting now because Kenshiro is probably going to be challenged since he has now a decent rival who's a South Star pupil. So I can't wait to see that fight happen again. This one really doesn't have anybody that's a match for Kenshiro in it. You know, unlike the first volume, I think it was Rouse in it, right? You know, he's got a main arc rival there, and so that was really cool to read about his, you know, dead wife and things like that. But this one, not so much. There's like a David Goliath match, and Kenshiro win. So yeah, but again, this is a classic. Strongly recommend reading this series if you haven't been, but I think everyone is. Everyone's talking about this series. lastly, another series that everyone's talking about, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. Another character dies in this one, but again, I won't say who. We're ramping up. We have the first encounter with Kira in this one. We have us kind of starting the final bit of the story here. The fights with Kira in it was amazing. I liked it probably more than I even liked the anime. I was blown away, even though I know what's going to happen, but it's been a few years now since I've seen it. I don't remember when it aired, but I watched it all along when it was airing. It had to have been a few years ago now, I guess, huh? But again, I like this a lot more than I liked the anime, actually. I don't know if I like this one more than 3 or not, though, at this time. But it's actually up there. I feel like 3 might be a little worse than this. Because Kira is just, like, intense. It's, like, really... I don't know. I feel like they kind of dropped the ball on that on the anime. But, like, I'm, like... I guess Kira was intense, too, but, like... I don't know. I just feel like... It's hard to believe that this guy is, like, so carefully thinking. And, like, even though I know what's happening, I'm like, oh, shit, what's going to happen next? Like, I'm really, like, glued to it. So it's hard for me to not actually read multiple of these at once, but somehow I stopped myself. Probably because I have a whole other pile of books to read before I let myself get to the good stuff. I think I could finish all of JoJo's though, like in a few days, maybe even just 2 days. But that's what I read this week. What did you guys read? Anything good? Anything bad? Let me know what I should stay away from, and let me know what I should run towards in the comments down below. And again, if you read any of these this week, please let me know. Please, leave me a like, a comment, and, just let me know a little bit about your manga history, manga life, okay? We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.